Okay, so this is a translation and a discussion of Pliny's letter 727 with the 3 ghost stories. And in this video, we'll be going over chapters 9 through 11, which will complete the second of those ghost stories about the haunted house. So we start right off with it, the ghost. And so it was standing there. So remember that the ghost has finally approached Athenodorus, the scientist. And it was nodding, it was motioning, it was making some sort of communicating motion, as it were. And it was nodding with its finger, and so therefore it's probably doing like this right here, indicating come with me. And that ghost, which is the subject, here you have your nominative with its FACO ending is, similar to one calling. And what we are doing is we're taking the verb woco vocare, making it a present active participle, and then obviously because similis requires objects to be in the dative case, similar to, then we obviously have it in that dative case, and we are substantizing it a person. Now, here we are going to see, whenever you have hic haec hoc, that is going to be referring to Athenodorus, whereas ele elat lud is going to be referring to the ghost. And so this one, meaning Athenodorus, the scientist, in response, or contrary, obviously often you have this word contra, which is going to imply a reply, so that ut here is going to be a purpose clause, I'm going to interpret it as, so that he could await, and this either you maybe could understand it as being either Athenodorus, he needs a moment to finish his work, or that it, the ghost, could await, specto spectare with an X on front means to await, a little bit, so he wants the second, he indicates with his hand, and so therefore you can imagine Athenodorus does something along the lines of just a moment, or give me a second as it were, and again, he leans over, he reclines on the waxes, which remember is the tablet, and the pencil, which he is writing with. You can understand these as being obviously dative objects of that compounded verb, or you can simply say he reclines over with his waxes and with his stylus, and you can make it an ablative if you so wished there. That one, meaning the ghost, illa, that one sees there, it was making a racket. And again, what we have is a compounded verb in sono, in sonare, and so here we're going to take as the object the capiti. It was resounding on the head of the one writing, and again what we're doing is taking a verb, scribo scribere, and turning it into a present active participle with an nt and a third declension ending, and then we're substantizing it, meaning obviously referring to Athenodorus. And so that one was resounding on the head of the one writing with chains. He's not hit him in the head with chains, it's more like he's right above his head with chains, all like, you know, rattle, 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 and so forth and so on. And so, he, and I think we can understand it here, is going to be Athenodorus. Again, he looks at, he spots the one nodding, and this is going to be reference to the ghost. Again, what we have done is taken the present active participle, and we are substantizing it, nodding the same thing which previously, which before. And so on the second time the ghost comes over and rattles its chains and tries to get Athenodorus' attention, he is obviously then going to look at him again, and apparently the ghost is still doing that come here with me. Nec moratus, and here obviously our subject he, which is going to be referring to Athenodorus, not having delayed. Remember that moratus is from the verb moror, morari, moratusum, which is a deponent verb, making moratus here a perfect passive looking participle. He lifts his light, you can understand that as maybe a lamp, and he follows from the deponent verb sequor, sequi, secutus sum. Looks passive, translates actively. Nevertheless, that one, which of course again is from ele elat lud, is going to refer to the ghost. It was going with a slow step, lento gradu, as if heavy with chains. And so that's because it is heavy with chains. This ghost has chains draped both, remember, on his hands and on his legs. And so, postquam, after or afterwards, it turned, it bent, it diverted, if you would like, it bent into an area of the house, long US, remember in the fourth declension, could be genitive singular of the house, it could be nominative plural, the houses do something, or to be accusative plural, somebody verbs, something, a subject verbs, the house is. Obviously here in the context it's going to be the genitive singular. And then repente, suddenly, having slipped away another deponent verb, labor, labi, lapsus sum, it, meaning the ghost, deserted his companion. The companion is now Athenodorus, because Athenodorus is the one carrying the lantern following him away. So, if he deserted, the ghost is the one who did the deserting, the companion, the one having been deserted, is obviously going to be Athenodorus. He places in that location where the ghost has disappeared, and he does so, he places a sign in that location, and this signum is going to be in a positive of what he uses as the sign. Grasses and leaves having been plucked. And so he's going to go get some grasses, go get some leaves, he's going to place it in the spot where the ghost has disappeared, because remember, this is at night, and they don't have the luxury of lighting like what we do, and so he's going to check it out the next day, and that's exactly what we see here. Postero die, on the next day, on the following day, he goes from Eoire to the magistrates. He goes to the local authorities, we would say the police, as it were. Nevertheless, and he warns them, he advises them, that's probably the better meaning of the verb monia monere, ut, that they order, and so this is going to be your ut clause that is an indirect command. And so therefore, he advises them that they order that location, a present passive infinitive, to be excavated, to be dug up. So find out what exactly is there. So we continue to finish up with chapter 11 to the next page, and there it is. So, nevertheless, bones, as one can imagine when they dig him up, having been inserted and having been entwined with chains, they are found. Bones, quae, which a body, and this corpus is going to be your subject of the verb reliquerat. Yep, there it is. And so a body, having become rotten, having putrefied, from, because of from and on at, age, that's what iwum means, iwum, iwe, and remember, if you add the Latin word that means middle, medi, it's where you get the word medieval, or medieval, as it were, which are the Middle Ages. So, bones, which a body, having been putrefied by age and by earth, had left behind, that bones which the body had left behind, and the which, those bones nude and having been eaten away with those chains. Ex asa is from edeo, and so therefore it is modifying the understood quae, which is referring obviously to the bones. Now, those bones, again, collecta, which obviously is going to obviously modify the bones as well. They are buried. Sepelio sepelire means to bury, and here it is in the passive and it is present. So those bones, having been collected, are buried publicly. This word publique is probably implying buried in the right way. Remember that for burial, you're going to have a coin placed either on your eye or under your tongue in your mouth, so that you can then pay the boatman Charon when you get to the underworld, and so that your soul, as it were, your spirit, can find rest. We used to have a section of the Aeneid that we read in the previous iteration of AP Latin that described this encounter and explanation when Aeneas is in the underworld. And then afterwards, the house, fitly, duly, appropriately, ritually, any of those are perfectly fine for this adverb vitae. Afterwards, the house lacked. This verb caruit comes from careo, carere, and it means to lack, and it's where we get the word caret. C-A-R-E-T, which is that little marking, that if I were wanting to add a word here, that caret is that little marking, and that's why it's called a caret, because it literally translates as it lacks. And as a verb, it requires its objects to be in the ablative case, and so that's why conditis manibus. Manibus are from the term for ghosts in Latin, which are, of course, the manes, the ghosts, and so the house lacked ghosts, the ones having been established, or in this sense, having been buried. And so once the proper burial is going to occur, no longer is the spirit or the ghost going to obviously haunt the house. And so all along, apparently, what the ghost had wanted is for someone to find its bones and give it a proper burial so that it could obviously find its place in the underworld. So hopefully this is of help to you. Keep studying, and on to the third ghost story in the next installment.